ATP, what it do, what it do, what it do. We back at it again. Good morning or good early afternoon, whatever time it is. I don't know. It is afternoon. Let me stop playing like I'm in the dark. Excuse the music. I don't know what's going on. It's not working. You know what I mean? So that being said, let me know if my mic is coming in through clear. Do you guys hear me? Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Are we good? Are we good? Are we tapped in? I know we got a couple people in the building. Can we hear me? Let me see here. Let me put it on here. Make sure I can hear myself. How about that? Mic check. Okay. Looks like we coming in. Looks like we're coming in good. Salute and good afternoon. It is the weigh-in the day before the big fight, right? We're good. All right. Salute, Sirius. I appreciate you flexing and stepping. No doubt. No doubt, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Yeah, we in the building, man. Couple things to talk about today. In and out like a robbery, right? I wanted to talk about obviously keep focus on this Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Erickson Lubin fight that's about to happen. Yesterday was a press conference, guys. That happened, I believe, after we spoke on the show. So want to go over that as well. Interesting, right? As this thing is developing, anticipating Jerron Boots Ennis and Eddie Hearn being at this event, and just the actual consensus across the whole space, kind of looking forward to all of this culminating to something, tangible that we all can watch with our eyes and kind of make up our mind as far as what's going on with this whole entire Virgil Ortiz Jr., Jerron Boots Ennis, this love triangle thing going on involving Oscar De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn, and maybe Virgil Ortiz's management manager as well, and really just try to get an understanding of what we got to look forward to. Announcements also being made that there are negotiations now being made between Xander Zayas and Abbas Baharu for unification, WBO, WBA title unification. Kind of saw that coming. If you guys remember, at the end of Abbas Baharu's fight, we did see Xander Zayas come into the ring and do somewhat of a makeshift face-off. Kind of knew, at least at a minimum, Xander was looking to do something like that to make a unification happen. And I kind of figured Abbas Baharu, coming from where he's coming from, would value more of a unification fight than a fight with Jerron Boots Ennis. Not to mention Jerron Boots Ennis is probably the more formidable opponent, right? The more difficult out of the two opponents. So, what am I going to pick? A fight with him for nothing just to lose my title to him? Or do I go for a unification in a fight that I believe I can win against Xander Zayas and become a unified champion, and then, move on to whatever opportunities are there afterwards, right? Needless to say, I believe there's even a date towards the end of January that they're talking about pushing this fight out there. Kind of puts everybody right in the right time frame. Murtazaliev, I believe, also has his fight that evening as well, or that earlier that day, with defending his title, right? Defending his IBF title against Josh Kelly. So that puts everybody right around the same schedule to be able to go ahead and schedule more fights, right? Maybe unifications even more. Maybe Xander, the winner of Xander Zayas, and Abbas Baharu may either defend their unification against a mandatory if the sanctioning body gets involved and gets Boots involved in it, or maybe they cross the streets and try to unify with Murtazaliev, right? Or things of that nature. So a lot of things are happening on right now in the space. I want to talk about all that. Shout out to everybody who's in the building as we're stepping into the building. Take your time to go ahead and hit that like button. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. But yeah, 154, the politics of 154 is coming together, right? We're coming towards the end of the year. And, the only thing that really was missing from making this just the perfect scenario was the Sebastian Fundora Keith Thurman fight. That one still hasn't been announced as far as when to expect them to fight next. Or, at this point, are they even going to fight? I've questioned the value of that fight. I'm sure Sebastian Fundora is getting a decent payday to make that fight happen. And Keith Thurman, of course, is going to take the opportunity to try to become a champion and get inside of the conversation. But listen, man, 2026 is going to usher in a crazy year for 154. If you guys are anticipating the return of Errol Spence Jr., Jamel Charlo, people like that, and you combine that with everybody who's in the space right now, you've got to be excited and looking forward to what 154 pounds has going on, right? And I think it's something to take a look at, and we can talk about it as well, because obviously we know there's going to be a lot of across the street politics that we're going to hope does not get involved with this to the point to where it actually gets in the way of fights happening. We understand how business works, right? We understand that platforms want to showcase the biggest fights and they don't want to cross the streets. But you know, you look at, for example, an Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy and Eddie Hearn with Matchroom, they're both underneath the DAZN and on a DAZN contract. So that does seem to make it easier for those fights to get put together. Xander Zayas with Top Rank, you know, us as boxing fans are still in the background, in the dark, trying to figure out what Top Rank is going to do as well. Is Top Rank going, what network deal are they going to work out with? There were rumors earlier this year that we could maybe anticipate seeing Top Rank on a DAZN network, right? Deal. But it hasn't happened yet. Obviously, we haven't heard anything about it, and you're kind of wondering, if you're like me, you're wondering what is Top Rank trying to do. Is whatever deal they're going to that they're going to usher out or roll out, is that going to be something that just, are they just waiting for 2026 to roll out what they've already been working on? Or in fact, are there issues over there as far as finding a network deal is concerned? Either way, they're still finding ways to allow their champions to fight, right? We're going to watch O'Shaquie Foster and Stephen Fulton fight next month, right? O'Shaquie Foster's WBC title be on the line. I believe Rafael Espinosa will be defending his WBO title in the coming weeks. They're going to find a way for that to be showcased. And, you know, obviously we're looking at Xander Zayas this close to being an announcement made, if the announcement hasn't officially been made yet, for him and ABASS Baharu to find to figure it out and get a unification title fight going on. So they're finding a way to get these fights done and put out there. But 154 is looking very interesting, right? I'm very excited to see what's going on in the division. This fight tomorrow is going to be a big needle mover in the space. Virgil Ortiz and Erickson Lubin, a potential fight of the year candidate. You know, it has all the ingredients to be that. Both these guys seem to have a lot to gain on the opposite side of a victory in this fight. Amazingly enough, Vegas doesn't seem to have this fight being that competitive. I believe Erickson Lubin may be like a plus 600 on this one, or a plus 500 on this one. Let me take a look here real quick. I haven't looked yet, and that's really not like me, because honestly, I did plan on getting some money involved in this one here. But let me take a look at it real quick just to get us all on the same page here. What is it gonna be with those guys? These apps never make it easy, bro. Let's see, all sports. Let's do like that. Boxing. Okay, Erickson Lubin. All right, right now, Vegas has it. Erickson Lubin at a plus 580 and Virgil Ortiz Jr. at a minus 1,000. Wow, on the money line. What do you guys think about that? You think Vegas is bugging? Am I bugging? Is Vegas bugging, or am I bugging? It's like, I don't know, man. Like, this is a good fight to put some money on Lubin. I mean, I don't know what is Vegas taking into consideration when they're making it this way? Is Virgil Ortiz Jr. just that much better? Is something in the gumbo that we're not aware of? Shout out, Big Sarge says home cooking for Virgil. That's why I claim more. Okay, I mean, that's where my mind runs to, right? I'm starting to think to myself, like, all right, I know this is a, you know, Virgil Ortiz Jr. obviously is being campaigned and pushed forward as to be the next big thing, right? Golden Boy is trying to put that energy behind him. This is a home field advantage fight for him. But these guys really have Erickson Lubin like no chance of winning. Like, if Erickson Lubin wins this fight, is that officially an upset? Is that an upset? Jerome, I mean, sorry, I said Jerome. I'm looking at your name, Jerome. I saw you in here somewhere. I think I caught you. Yeah, Jerome Bratton, salute. And I'm gonna take a minute and do a quick little roll call as well. But you guys marinate on that and let me know if Erickson Lubin beats Virgil Ortiz Jr. Is this an upset? Vegas has it set up for it to be an upset, right? If that were to happen. From my interaction with the boxing space and people who I know boxing and in my personal just looking at the fight for what it is on face value, I have this fight being closer to a 50-50 fight. Not completely. I'm leaning towards Virgil Ortiz Jr. to really win this fight. I think, you know, we'll get into that, right? Because I think I am going to just pick Virgil Ortiz Jr., just call it a day. But no, I mean, plus 580, I'm literally tempted to put like $100 on it or something. Like, I mean, you know, it's tight times, you know, it's tight times right now. People, we don't got money to just throw away like that. But damn it, plus 580? Plus 580? Damn. It just seems kind of diabolical. Let me do a quick little roll call in the building. Salute to Flex and Steppin in the building, man. Shout out, Flex. Hey, man, Flex and Steppin, you've been coming around a lot more. I know you came over from the Boxing Voice, man. I really appreciate you having you over here, man. I appreciate that, man. Shout out to the Boxing Voice, Ness, and all those guys over there. I know that they're pushing the Border Wars tomorrow, so that they're moving around doing a bunch of stuff. It's probably part of the reason why I've been up on the panel this week a lot. Not to mention I've been real busy. So just getting on there early. I'm a third shift guy, right? So getting up there early is difficult sometimes when you got things to handle in your personal life. But also I knew that they were also building up for Border Wars. And I'm not very familiar with the fighters that they, you know, I know it's a bunch of like creators or you know, community members that are going to be boxing. So kind of fell back and let them do their thing this week. But shout out to those guys. Hope that event goes great in Atlanta. But shout out to you, Flex and Steppin, for being over here while I'm doing my little show. No, I mean, catch my little take on the boxing space. Appreciate you being here, man. Sirius in the building said, we in this thing. Salute, Sirius. Salute, salute, salute. Bomb the virtuoso. Letting me know my mic was good a little bit earlier today. Salute, salute, salute. Shout out to my guy, Grassroots right here, Mr. Big Play Bray in the building. Jerome Bratton, salute to you, King. Yeah, I had you. I saw you on there before. Didn't say nothing. Devontae Richardson in the building says, my guy Clay always holding down the boxing talk. We appreciate you, big dog. Salute, family. Salute back at you, man. AJ Moore says, any clown defending boots ducking fighters just to call them out now with no belts is a clown, just like he don't want smoke for real. Okay, AJ, I mean I don't know if I see it necessarily that way, but shout out to you, AJ, for being in the building, right? We'll definitely be talking about boots today. We're definitely going to be talking about Virgil, and we need to figure out, we're going to talk about it a little bit deeper, right? And just try to get a little timeline and understanding here. I understand let me just continue to go down the list right here. Big Sarge in the building. Salute to Big Sarge. Says Jamel and Errol are looking for the big money fights that they aren't getting. Yeah, man. They might have to fight each other, right? Jamel and Errol, if they come back, might come back fighting each other. You would assume that they want a tune-up, especially Errol, before getting in ring with each other. But it seems like if they're looking for a big bag of money, you know, Terrence just doesn't seem to be an option for anybody, right? Terrence seems to have his own trajectory that he's on, and he's staying pretty loyal to it. It would have to probably be Jerron Butenis or Virgil Ortiz or one of the bigger names in the game right now. But it is what it is, right? Shout out to RC in the building. Salute my guy. RC in the building said, what's good, fam? Let's see here. Vaughn, Sirius. Let's see here. Am I missing anybody? Bones 13 in the building. Salute. Bones says, what it do, Clay? What up, Bones? What's good with you? R. Stokes in the building says, I think Ortiz wins, but it ain't gonna be easy. Lubin is a full loaf for anybody. Yeah, man, no doubt. Shout out to CJ Rich Boxing in the building says, plus 580. I'm running to the betting booth. Right, CJ? Am I crazy? That's just on the money line. I haven't even checked on none of the prop bets on, you know, the knockouts or the over or unders or anything like that. That's just a straight money line bet plus 580. What does Vegas see? What does Vegas see that we just don't see? What are we missing? I feel like we're missing something. Like, I know that he switched the trainers, right? That he's gone through 3 trainers in his past 3 fights. I'm sure that you know, that's part of it as well. His last performance against Andrell Holmes wasn't that spectacular of a performance, even though he got a stoppage, right? He got a stoppage. His last 3 fights have been against undefeated fighters, and he's taken their O's. I wonder what Vegas is looking at that we're missing. It's so interesting. Shout out to my Aki Fly Frequency. Shoot me the salams. Walaikum salam. Fly. I hope everything is good, man. Good spirits, man. Salute to my brother. Fight Sports Talk in the building. Fight Sports Talk. What's good, bro? And of course, my guy, MMA Boxing Addicts in the building. Salute to all you guys, man. Yeah, so yeah, Vegas really has it on the other on a one-sided affair. And I'm wondering what points are we missing, or is Vegas really just giving us some free money that are they trying to scare us away with making it too good to be true? I, I don't know. I don't know, right? I mean, yeah, I just don't see why it would be that way. There's an injury or something we're not aware of. Was there some news circulating? I mean, I'm interested in seeing them on the scales for sure. I want to see how they look on the scales. Yesterday, I saw Virgil Ortiz. I do feel like he was a little sunken in his face, but look, man, he's cutting weight, right? He's doing a weight cut. A good friend of mine once told me, if you're not a heavyweight, everybody who's underneath a heavyweight is cutting weight, right? Is a weight bully in their own right. And Virgil Ortiz, coming off of his last situation at 147, I'm sure the weight cut is a very sensitive topic for him, and he takes it very seriously with the way he approaches it. Shout out, I've had some people commenting on my short videos, really jumping on me, right? People are, these are the sensitive topics, right? When you're holding fighters accountable, their fans come out the woodworks, and they get a little upset with you, right? They get a little antsy and they don't know how to really take it. Are you hating on their fighter, or are you being unfair to their fighter, or are you not picking a side, which is another thing I go through out here, right? Where people want us to pick a side. I gotta pick a side. What side are you on, man? Don't ride the fence. Whatever, I don't know what to tell people. Shout out to my brother Jamel over there at YSM Sports Radio, who we were talking yesterday, and somebody was calling me out for something he saw me say on another platform in reference to this whole topic with Jerron Boots Ennis and Terrence Crawford and Virgil Ortiz, and just obviously I've been here on my soapbox screaming out that we want Jerron Boots Ennis to communicate more, right? We want him to communicate more directly to the questions. We want him to speak his mind so we know what's on his mind. I just don't want Jerron Boots Ennis to end up like some of your favorite fighters in the building, like a Gervonta Tank Davis, right? Just somebody who's never committing to anything. And before you know it, you got a whole fan base who are putting words in Jerron Boots Ennis's mouth, right? Now you're arguing with people over things that they don't even have any real data to back up that's what Jerron Boots Ennis said. So I mentioned that Jerron Boots Ennis, the way he carries in his interviews. Keep in mind, right? I don't know Jerron Boots Ennis personally, right? So I can never say nothing personal about him. But I would say, in the way he deals with the boxing media space, he's carried it with a bit of a forked tongue, right? If that makes any sense to you guys, hope that doesn't go over your head. Or maybe like a snake's tongue, right? But not in a disrespectful way to where I'm saying he's a liar I wish there was a better way for me to say it, right? But I truly believe that just actually describes the effect of when Jerron Boots Ennis is answering a question. He leaves you after he's answered the question, dare I say, without an answer, right? Because the way he gives the answer, it can go in multiple directions, and he's very rarely speaking directly to what's being asked. The perfect example I've always given up to this point is the Ari. I'll give you even a better example. I was going to use the Ari Hawani situation, but when Jerron Boots Ennis just finished fighting at his post-fight press conference against Karen Kukudachin, right? The question was asked to him, what was he going to do next? He stated he's not too sure. His performances are starting to be reflective of him cutting that weight. The rehydration clause with the IBF was a difficult thing to do. And he said, listen, if I'm not going to go to get a unification title fight, I'm going to go up to 154, right? The space went crazy. And on the back end of that, Turkey Al-Sheikh announced a fight on his Riyadh season card with Jaron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. You guys remember that, right? And we all were anticipating this fight and we're excited that he was going to go up to 154 and make this fight happen. But what ended up happening, we get the announcement as it's getting closer to the event. The contract hasn't been done. It looks like Virgil Ortiz's team is on deck, but Jaron Boots Ennis is having to go on record to say that he's never agreed to make that fight, and he never said he was going to 154. Well, of course, the space went crazy on Jaron Boots Ennis, right? Because we all know what we heard. We all know we heard him speak on going to 154, or at least his willingness to go to 154. And then we didn't know at that point Turkey Al-Sheikh to necessarily lie to us, right? So there was a confusion there. And Jaron Boots Ennis was even upset because he felt like he never told anybody that he'd be wanting to fight Virgil Ortiz or that he's going to 154 now. And I think it was fair, because I do also remember in that same press conference, he communicated he also wanted to unify 147. So once again, sort of a crossroads, a forked tongue approach to answering these questions, with a fan base that is quick to jump on a narrative and boom, speculate into the next chapter in the book without your involvement. Well, they'll put a whole storyline to it. So we've been pushing for Jaron Boots Ennis to be way more transparent, to be more active, proactive in making the fights happen that the space wants to see him in. And it looks like we're going to see that on Saturday, right? Eddie Hearn and Jaron Boots Ennis. Rumor is circulating that these guys are going to be at the Virgil Ortiz Erickson Lubin fight, looking forward to step into the ring to formally call out and try to build a fight with Virgil Ortiz for the world to see that he's here and he's ready to be on the front stage and make the biggest fights happen. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's important. I think that's a great move. On the back end of that, now we're seeing interviews done with Oscar De La Hoya, with Robert Garcia, with people, with Virgil Ortiz Jr. himself. And guys, I got to be honest with you, there's some mixed signals coming from over there, right? A little bit of mixed signals in the sense of, well, Oscar De La Hoya clearly does not seem to believe that Jaron Boots Ennis really wants this fight, or I don't know if he's trying to sell the fight at the idea of them being there and them seeing Virgil Ortiz put on such a masterclass that they wouldn't want to jump in the ring with Virgil next. We all know Oscar De La Hoya tries to put his promoter hat on. He gets real animated when he's trying to market and sell his products, and it's not necessarily promised to be the most honest point of view, right? Or the most transparent point of view. I mean, generally speaking, he's going to paint the opponents in a certain way, paint their promoters in a certain way, and then you'll see them move accordingly. And when it's all said and done, if the fight's not done, it's once again plausible deniability, right? I think I saw somebody write that in the CJ Rich wrote that inside of the chat, that, you know, I'm not committed to anything. I mean, I literally personally watched, and I know we all did, but you might not remember, I watched Oscar De La Hoya on the screen as Turkey Al-Sheikh confronted him on making a fight between Virgil Ortiz and Terrence Crawford, and telling the world right there, as Turkey was looking, and I could tell Turkey was looking at Oscar De La Hoya in his eye, because he could see that you're not being very serious with me, or I'm having a hard time believing you. But he got the handshake and got him to confirm, like, yes, we're going to make this happen. I'm saying inside of 30 minutes of that moment on the screen, you saw Oscar De La Hoya in the locker room with with Virgil Ortiz, and he was telling the world at that point that, you know, Virgil is going to do the fight he wants to do, that, and, you know, he's not committing to anything, and this, that, and I don't know. I just seen Oscar De La Hoya be animated and be like the right guy in front of one camera, and then when you get a little more personal with him, find out that, you know, he's not really trying to do any of that. So watching Oscar De La Hoya discredit Boots Ennis's true interest in fighting his fighter in Virgil Ortiz Jr., I'm at a crossroads there, right? Because on one point, I'm wondering, like, are you trying to get us ready for the announcement to be made that Virgil Ortiz isn't going to be fighting Jaron Boots Ennis next, that Virgil may be going in a different direction, or maybe he's trying to motivate Jaron Boots Ennis. Maybe he's, you know, and he ain't trying to do that just to get him to, I don't know, right? And then you watch Robert Garcia do an interview, and I've always appreciated Robert Garcia as being a very transparent, down to earth trainer, fan of boxing, not really into the all the antics like other people may be, right? Robert Garcia seems to be a man who's like really about his business, and he dead ass feels like Boots not only does not want that fight next, but that Boots is actually already potentially have a fight planned for a tune-up after for his next fight, and that they just doing this whole entire thing as a publicity stunt just to come take the light away from Virgil, show and prove to the world that they're about this life, and but in turn, nothing's going to come out of it. I'm seeing a stage being made, a bed of some sort being made for the fan base to put us to sleep, right? They're trying to rock us to sleep, guys, but I don't know in what direction, right? Are they trying to rock us to sleep in the direction of preparing us to blame Boots for the fight not happening? Are they trying to rock us to sleep in the sense of them not having interest in fighting Boots and trying to set that stage? Or are they really setting up the big fight at the end of the day by doing what they're doing to build up the fight in some weird way? Right? I don't know. I think it's it's getting to the point where it's another exciting part of the fight tomorrow that I'm going to be looking forward to the end of this fight to see how this turns out. But while we're talking about all these things and this next fight being Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Jon Boots Ennis, the elephant in the room is that they have a live fighter that's going to be in the ring with them in Erickson Lubin, who's not, listen, to speak about Jon Boots Ennis fighting Virgil Ortiz Jr. kind of speaks to even us having to take ownership that we're looking past him in that way, right? But I just showed you guys, even Vegas is looking past Erickson Lubin. Even Vegas is looking past Erickson Lubin. So, the stage is being set. And if you've been watching boxing as long as I've been watching boxing, it's starting to feel and smell like the politics of the sport maybe lurking around that arena that night, right? You're starting to smell the politics of the sport, like feeling like the politics are going to be making their way around the arena that night. It's in the atmosphere, the spirit of the politics of boxing that could possibly get involved in this fight and make this fight and take away from the significance of this fight as far as from a boxing fan's point of view, seeing a straight up, gladiator sport to find out who the best is the politics of the sport going to get involved in this fight and turn this into a situation to where it gets dirty, right? Where you feel dirty, where us as fans, we got to take a shower after we watch the fight, right? Because, somebody about to play with us, pause. You know what I mean? I don't know, right? It's we're gonna watch it for sure, and we're gonna see what ends up happening. You know what I mean? But let me see here. I know we got some people. I think 2 Cents just said something. He said Vegas odds, Golden Boy promotion, Texas commission equals 0%. Lubin leaving with a win. Damn. And I wonder how that's affecting Erickson Lubin. I wonder if he's seeing the writing on the wall. I'm wondering if Erickson Lubin sees the writing on the wall for himself, and is that going to affect the way he performs on Saturday night? That could be a good thing or a bad thing, right? That could be a good thing or a bad thing. Or is the best thing that Erickson Lubin can gamble on or bet on is the best thing for him to bet on is, listen, I'm going to do my job and I'm going to allow the judges to do their job. And, we'll let that play out. If I have to win in the people's court, then I'll win there. My worst case scenario to still put my stock in a certain place, and it will discredit a victory that's not earned on the Virgil Ortiz side if that's the way it ends up turning out. You know what I mean? Let me see. Von Virtuoso in the building says, at what point do we stop watching because of the politics? We won't. I won't. Because even though we want the judges to do the right thing, we still want to see the fights, and we still know who won and who lost at the end of the day. And it's crazy, but the reality is we're not going to stop watching the fights. It's just not going to happen. Or I'll speak for myself and just say I'll never stop watching. I'll never stop watching the fights. I just won't stop doing it. Right? I love the sport too much. I'm not going to stop watching it. But I'll tell you this though, the politics, those politics that we're talking about right now, when we're talking about what we're seeing right now with Ryan Garcia getting ready to fight for another title shot, with Mario Barrios and all those things, this is the reason why the door has opened up for the Turkey Al-Sheikhs, the Dana Whites, right? This is why you're seeing these guys in the sport in the capacity that they're in. These things right here, right? These are the things that make the sport, and you question the integrity and the structure of the sport because you understand the term prize fighting involves, prize fighting is something, isn't it? You can't have it without the politics, which is why if you're really a pundit in the space and you're really into the sport, I'm not going to say it like that, because if you're not into what I'm about to say right now, I don't want to make you feel like you're not into the sport, right? But I'm going to say, for me, the reason why I embrace the idea of a structured league setting is because I'm hoping and embracing the idea of the structure of the sport being maintained, the integrity of the sport being there, where the champions fight their mandatories, where people work their way through the rankings and they're rewarded for their efforts. Well, they're rewarded for the results, for the things that they've earned by getting the title shot. That fighters aren't able to get out of fights with certain fighters because the money doesn't make sense, or hold on to titles and hold on to titles, hold them hostage, but never give the just due to the fighter who earned his right to be in that conversation. This is why, because when you watch right now, we're going into a sport right now, or we're going into a fight right now, and we're legitimately wondering and worrying about, maybe even a little bit, if this is going to be judged fairly or not, based on how much promotion is going on for things that happen after the fight. Right? This Jon Boots Ennis thing is arguably the bigger story in this fight than Erickson Lubin versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. And I'm playing my part in it, right, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm sitting here right now talking about it, and I'm talking about Jon Boots Ennis going into the ring and calling out Virgil Ortiz. I'm talking about all that stuff because, that's the big fight everybody really wants to see. But the reality is, the fight that's actually happening in real time on Saturday is a fight to where Virgil Ortiz Jr. can legitimately lose that fight, because Erickson Lubin is that good. He's that good, right? He's arguably more experienced. Not arguably, he is more experienced at 154 than Virgil Ortiz Jr. is. He's the actual acclimated 154-pound fighter who's been fighting and fought the best in the division. Fought Jamel Charlo, the last undisputed champion in the division. Fought Sebastian Fundora, what a lot of people have rated as the best super welterweight in the division. Ring Magazine has Virgil Ortiz Jr. at number 1, but the boxing space doesn't necessarily agree with that. I know a lot of my friends are looking at Sebastian Fundora as that guy. He's fought both those guys and lost to them, of course, right? But still, that experience is still there. Beating the Jason Rosarios, beating the Terrell Gouchets, beating the Jesus Ramoses in the game. He has the pedigree to be in this, and a celebrated a great amateur coming out of the amateurs, was anticipated to be one of the leaders in this new generation of boxers. Erickson Lubin checks all those boxes, but Vegas has him at a plus 600 on the money line, and we're going to see Jon Boots Ennis in the ring at the end of this fight if Virgil Ortiz wins. And that's another thing. I'm wondering if he comes into the ring regardless. Does Jon Boots Ennis try to get the winner of that fight, or is he looking at Virgil next? Abbas Baharu is no longer an option on the table for him right now. Him holding an interim title puts him in position to challenge, to hold the WBA accountable, to put him in position to fight a champion at some point. But in this situation, I think clearly the unification trumps the title defense. So that's not an option for him anymore. So if Virgil Ortiz loses this fight, It's either fight Erickson Lubin for that interim WBC title, or what direction does Jaron Boots Ennis go in as a fighter who's trying to be active? Who does he fight next? If it's not Virgil and it's not Abbas Baharu, it won't be Bakram, because Bakram is getting ready to fight Josh Kelly, right? That's already scheduled. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And 154 is cooking. And bringing in 2026, man, talk about Jamel Charlo potentially returning. That's what the rumor is. I don't know how true it is. You know, those guys have been outside of the ring for a minute, right? Errol Spence, we haven't seen him since he fought Terrence Crawford in 2023. We're about to be in 2026, right? We're going to be 2+ years since Errol Spence has been in the ring. It's a lot. It's a lot, man. Shout out to Rick Timms in the building, says, "What's up, Clay?" In chat, and waving his hand. What's good with you guys, man? Mr. Timms in the building. Let me see here. Mr. Big Play Bray says, "What if Boots don't show up? How will the boxing community look at Boots?" Boots is underneath the magnifying glass. And can I be honest with my community? You know what my fear is? My fear is that Jaron Boots Ennis fans may become the next Gervonta Tank Davis fans. Did I say too much? That's my fear. And I can elaborate on that so people don't feel no kind of way, but I don't know if that'll help anybody not feel any kind of way, right? Jaron Boots Ennis fans are this close to being put in a position to where they're going to have to start speaking for Boots. And that's when it gets diabolical out here in these boxing streets. That's what happened with Gervonta Tank Davis fans. Gervonta Tank Davis fans got put into a position to where they had to speak for Gervonta because Gervonta wouldn't speak for himself. And that's when the hostility and the animosity started building up in the boxing space with the Tank Davis fans. Because where people like myself and fans of boxing were just trying to be honest and say that we don't know what Tank is trying to do. Tank is not calling anybody out. Tank isn't sending out the offers to the people we want to send him to. It doesn't seem like he's going to make these fights happen. It doesn't seem like he's going to move out of his weight division to try and challenge himself in another way. His fans would just want to destroy you, right? And say, you bugging. Your fighter isn't putting himself in the right position. Your fighter isn't this. And you guys are just always hating on Tank and this, that, and the other. And we could never get no real answers from Tank. And it just got nasty out here in these streets. And right now, at this moment, I've already been back and forth with Jaron Boots Ennis representation or fans who are upset at me calling out the fact that this man has not called out certain fights that his fans are asking for. And that without him doing that, how do we know that that's the fight he wants next? We're already going through it. It's already happening on a small level. It's nothing crazy yet, but already you have his fans gathering up and defending things that they don't have any real information coming directly from Boots to say, boom, this is where Boots stands. Now, granted, right now, Jaron Boots Ennis is not on that status yet to carry it all the way that way. He is a fighter who doesn't like to speak that much to the space. He doesn't really like to speak to big media platforms, even though as of late we just saw him on Ariel Helwani. It looks like he's, Eddie Hearn looks like he's holding his hand a little bit and pulling him into this space of media. But regardless, if he's not going to show up at this event on Saturday, and once again with the rumors circulating and anticipating him being there, and you compound that with what Oscar De La Hoya has been speaking about in his interviews and what Robert Garcia has been saying in his interviews, it's going to look like he's blowing smoke. It's going to look like, at a minimum, he doesn't care one way or the other. And there's another fighter who used to be the same way, right? And we see what happened with that boxer's fan base. If Boots cares about what the fans think and he wants to deliver the right message, he'll show up Saturday at this event. He will show up at this event. Right? That's what he'll do. And I'm anticipating him to do that, right? Salute. My guy Morab Salim in the building says, you summed up how Tank tanked his career. Right. I mean, not really. Tank didn't tank his career that way, because even though his fans were being toxic and moving that way, he still gave us the performances, at least against fights we didn't ask for. But the way Tank tanked his career is a way that I'll never see Jaron Boots Ennis doing it, which is outside activity, right? You know, domestic violence allegations, you know, probation, jail time for, you know, crashing into women or crashing into other cars, if you want to make it not gender specific. But Boots, I don't think Boots outside of the gym life seems to be pretty regular, smegular, straight and narrow, and he seems to be a focused person, well invested in real estate and things of that nature. But I will say that, you know, it was very hard to be in a room. And to this day, it's very hard to be in a room with Tank fans and talk about Tank in a transparent way without being attacked as if you're just trying to tear Tank down, right? And Jaron Boots and his fans are going to be in that same position if Boots doesn't start to become more proactive in his career and letting the space know through his actions and at times his words what he really is going to do. I also think there's an argument there to say that he has done that, right? And the way this media space works, I could see why he doesn't really want to open up and talk to the media that way, because, you know, we've earned a reputation to be some big time narrative pushers and really twist words and, you know, cut and edit clips to deliver them in a certain way to look a certain way. So I kind of get it as well. Man. Ill Will 85 says Boots is going to be there. He wants WBC interim. He's still in the WBO #1 and WBA interim. He's going to fight Virgil if he win and swing back to ABASS versus Zayas winner. 100%. I agree with you on that as well. I appreciate you bringing that up, It Will, right? The reality is also that Jaron Boots Ennis is #1 in the WBO, which is right there where Xander Zayas is at, and he's #1 in the WBA. So he's pretty much in the conversation for the next up at the winner of that fight, right? Like, he can make an argument to make a fight for the winner of that fight. And of course, if he fights Virgil Ortiz Jr. next and beats him, boom, now he's #1 in that situation, holding an interim title at least, and a mandatory for the winner between Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman, right? That's a real thing. That's really a real thing right there. So I definitely understand that. Let me see. Trini BX in the building says, salute, Trini. Says a little Puerto Rico late January is always a good thing. If they finalize Zayas versus ABASS, I'm pulling up. No doubt, man. No doubt. Yeah, so Boots is in a great position, but, you know, just speaking directly to what my guy said, what would the space look at if Boots didn't show up? It would just look bad. I mean, a lot of stories are going to get put out there, and it's getting to the point with Jaron Boots Ennis where I got to be honest, guys. It's earned. If you're not going to take your career serious, and if you're not going to take, not your career, right? But if you're not going to take the consensus serious, then whatever comes with that, right? If you're not going to take the consensus serious, right? In other words, if what the fans are thinking and what the boxing pundits and the people who are writing and journalists and if what boxing thinks doesn't really matter to you, then whatever comes with that comes with that. I think you're well within your right to move as you see fit, but the shock and awe and the disgust of the fans reacting accordingly, you can't be upset with that, right? You can't be upset with Wells Fargo Arena only having 6,000 or 7,000 people to see you watch Usman Lima, when people are clearly showing you their frustration with a choice you made. We can respect that you're confident in the choice and that you stand on your 10 toes about the choice that you made, but you can't get upset at the fan base for moving accordingly. That's just kind of part of the game, right? Shout out to my guy, Mr. Big Play Bray, showing support, putting some color in the chat today. $2 in the chat, says hit the like button, put some color in the chat. No doubt, for sure. Mr. Big Play, follow what Mr. Big Play saying, man. He telling the truth, man. You know what I mean? It is what it is. 2 Cents says, YouTube/Twitter equals consensus. Well, yeah, right. I mean, to be fair, 2 cents, it is, right? I mean, it kind of does. It represents what people think. And you can kind of tell it represents it because what usually happens with it is what happened with the Wells Fargo Arena fight with Usman Lima, right? The consensus was this on the social media platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, things that nature. People were not happy with the fight, and they responded and acted accordingly by not showing up to the fight. I didn't make the rules, right? I didn't make the rules. It is what it is. It is what it is, man. Lance Meyer in the building. Salute, Lance Meyer. What's good with your family? Ill Will says Earn is all in on Boots. He signed an extension agreement of Virgil next and media tour, which includes him being at the fight. 100%. And I believe that's what we're going to see happen on Saturday. I think that's very important. But that being said as well, I believe Jerron Boots Ennis personally wants to make this fight happen. And I think that's why. And I believe Eddie Hearn wants to make this fight happen. I don't think Eddie Hearn has any reason for him not to want this fight to happen. I think it's fair to say that it's easy to believe that Eddie Hearn has all faith in Jerron Boots Ennis, because I think a lot of us also have that faith in Jerron Boots Ennis. But does Oscar De La Hoya have that kind of faith in Virgil Ortiz? It's easy to say you do, right? But if you're not making your best efforts to make this fight happen, just as much as Eddie is, just as much as Virgil says he wants it is, just as much as Boots is, then that speaks way louder than words, right? That speaks louder than anything you could say, any one-liner you can drop on an interview. That's not going to overshadow a move blatantly made to get your fighter away from that fight. So the pressure is on Jerron Boots Ennis to be there on Saturday, to walk into that ring, to formally announce, to put that pressure. But there's an equal amount of pressure on Virgil Ortiz Jr. to be just as frustrated as Jerron Boots Ennis and say, I want to get to the bottom of this, bro, and I want to make this fight happen. I don't want no more excuses, because there's a part of me that believes that Virgil Ortiz Jr. and maybe even Jerron Boots Ennis aren't really fully aware of all the moving parts around them. And they're almost just as much in the dark as we are as to why that fight hasn't rolled out yet. Right? A little bit. There's also a little bit of me that's looking at Jerron Boots Ennis to say that he's aware a little bit more than, like I'm believing that he's turning down these fights. I think he has his reasons for doing it, and I think that's okay. But I think his fans, my watch is doing something new. I don't know what it's doing. It's kind of weird. There we go. I think that might be happening as well. You know what I mean? Let me see here. Let's see here. That Ill Will says Oscar already agreed along with Gomez. Comes down to Virgil, senior and manager. Virgil wins. Okay, I hear you. 2 Cents says Oscar knows boxing. Virgil can make more money staying away from Boots and still use his popularity to promote his fighters' least fights. Yeah, I think most promoters move with that energy. 2 Cents. I think most, there's a way to do things, but at what point do you just acknowledge what the fighter wants and just do what the fighter wants, right? Like, at what point do you allow the fighter to control his own career that way? I mean, I guess advice, if a fighter chooses to take advice, he doesn't have to. He can put his foot down for himself and draw a line in the sand like David Benavidez did by, moving away from the I was gonna say Jesse Hart. Yeah, the Jesse Hart fight and putting together the David Morrell fight, right? That's what he did. He literally put his foot down, drew a line in the sand, and said, "That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing this." And that's where we found us having a potential fight of the year candidate in a David Morrell versus David Benavidez earlier this year, right? That's how those things happen. And Errol Spence put his foot down, went against the advice, gave Terrence Crawford what he wanted financially to make that fight happen, to get an opportunity at becoming undisputed at 147. And there it goes. That's how the big fight was made. Is Virgil going to do that? I don't know. 2 Cents says that manager has main character syndrome. There's a lot of, oh man, hold on a second. There's a lot of shit callers in Virgil camp. Yeah, all the way across the board. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. We'll be looking forward to see what happens. What happens there? Going into this fight, guys. It's the day before the fight. I can tell you right now. I want to go into a little bit the intangibles that I'm going to be looking at. I'll be calling the fight tomorrow. You guys, who'll be here with me, you'll see me calling it. But going into the fight, what am I looking forward to seeing in my understanding to how Virgil Ortiz wins and how Erickson Lubin wins. Erickson Lubin has to get that jab. It's a southpaw versus an orthodox fighter. Erickson Lubin, there's going to be a war for who's going to control the fight with the jab. Virgil Ortiz works off the jab pretty well. If Erickson Lubin can take that away from Virgil Ortiz, he will take a weapon away from him. And if he can control the fight, not only with the jab, but also with the stab to the body, and continue to turn Virgil Ortiz Jr. and frustrate him by being the quicker, the quicker, more accurate fighter, this is the best chance that Erickson Lubin has to win this fight as far as controlling the pace of the fight. Because we understand, and I understand Virgil Ortiz Jr. to being a fighter who presses the pace and disrupts anybody's game plan, because he changes it from you being offensively sound and defensively sound to you just being completely focused on being defensive, because he's punching you to the body, he's coming over the top, following with big hooks, he's hitting you with straight right hands, he's cutting the ring off from you, he's smothering you with the pressure, right? So Erickson Lubin is going to have to get that respect from Virgil Ortiz Jr., or Virgil's going to try to steamroll him. The way I see him doing that is by stabbing him to the body. He has to start investing in that body early in that fight, very early in that fight. He's going to have to make that known and give Virgil Ortiz Jr. something to think about, to where we can hope that it slows Virgil Ortiz down a little bit. And if it slows Virgil Ortiz down, now Virgil Ortiz has to jump into his boxing bag to get the control back away from Erickson Lubin and be able to go ahead and move forward with his pressure. So he's going to turn that boxing into a fight, but he has to go through boxing first, because that's what this is. This is a boxing match. So Erickson Lubin looking to control the pace and control the distance and the range of this fight by stabbing him to the body, turning him, controlling and winning that jab game. Where, the winner of the jab is going to have a lot of leverage going into this fight. And then he's going to have to make Virgil Ortiz pay, right? We're using the stab to the body to control Virgil Ortiz's movement, to control him pushing forward without facing the consequence. But ultimately, the ultimate consequence is going to be that check right hook of Erickson Lubin and that straight left hand of Erickson Lubin that should also be stabbing him to the body. Right? That's where I see it. Right? That's where I see it. And he can't allow Virgil Ortiz to pull him into a fight and piss him off. He has to learn from the Jesus Ramos fight, and he's going to have to learn from the Sebastian Fundora fight. I think those two fights right there, he can understand when he overindulges inside of the melee, inside of the fight, he can get in trouble and get hit with shots he doesn't see coming. Sitting in that high guard, just allowing somebody to open up combination shots on you. Eventually, those shots start getting in between the gloves, and things start happening. So he doesn't want to allow that to happen. And at the same time, he does, Jesus Ramos was able to kind of like penetrate and get past that and wasn't really faded by the power. Really, there's an argument there to say that if Jesus Ramos would have turned up for the second half of that fight, or even the last 3 rounds of that fight, and not allow Erickson Lubin to stretch away with him by staying home too much, that he probably would have won that fight. Right? So we'll see what Erickson Lubin does. What's Virgil Ortiz got to do? Virgil Ortiz has got to do what he always does, right? It starts off that jab as well. He has to get that jab. That jab is going to be important for him, right? And he has to invest in the body, because I'm expecting Erickson Lubin to be moving and be on his wheels. Oh, yeah, and Erickson Lubin needs to stay off the ropes. He has to stay off the ropes in this fight. This fight is not going to look good for Erickson Lubin if he's on those ropes. And he has a habit of doing that from time to time. He allows himself to get pinned down a little bit. He has to be careful with that, because I kind of get I kind of get the idea of Erickson Lubin baiting and walking Virgil Ortiz into shots, right? Using that offense he knows is coming at him, but using it as an opportunity to set up shots that he can hit Lubin, he can hit Ortiz back with some real fiery ish, right? He can really do that. But you don't want to get caught up because that's where you can get hit with the shots you don't see coming. And obviously, we know Virgil Ortiz Jr. has the power to more than hurt Erickson Lubin. But if he hurts Erickson Lubin, then there's an even higher probable chance that he'll knock Erickson Lubin out because he's a killer. Virgil knows how to finish his food. He doesn't leave anything on the plate. So he has to be careful with keeping his back off of those ropes, right? He has to keep his back off those ropes. He has to keep that fight in the center of the ring. He has to control that fight, stabbing Virgil Ortiz to the body. Virgil Ortiz is known for coming in with that high guard. So if you're sitting there trying to, and that's another thing. If Erickson Lubin sits there and tries to headhunt Virgil Ortiz and is constantly trying to hit him with hooks and, just constantly aiming at his head and forgetting that body, then he's going to tire himself out. He's also going to put himself in position for Virgil Ortiz to do what he loves to do, which is work that body as well. Virgil loves to work that body. So he has to be aware of that. He has to take away that jab from Virgil, and he has to be the body puncher in this fight. He has to be the guy who's stabbing Virgil to the body, spinning, turning Virgil, frustrate Virgil, right? Turn up with your power, probably second half, mid to second half of that fight. Really turn up on the power and start turning over on your punches. And if you've done the body work the right way, if you've invested in the body since the first round, I'm expecting the head to open up probably 6th, 7th round, 5th, maybe even 5th, 6th, 7th round. Inside that window, there should be some opportunities for Lubin to start catching Virgil Ortiz with some great combination punching, right? So and put some heat on those shots. And God forbid, maybe even get Virgil Ortiz on his back foot a little bit, right? How does Virgil Ortiz perform on his back foot? I mean, he's the guy who's always pressing the action, but this is your division, Lubin. You've been in the ring with the bigger guys. Can we see Erickson Lubin push Virgil Ortiz on his back foot in this fight? How does that look? Can that even happen? Virgil Ortiz comes, since he's been at 154, Virgil Ortiz has tried to push back the Serhii Bohachuk. That didn't happen. Serhii Bohachuk stood his ground and put Virgil Ortiz down in his pockets. He got in the ring with a Madrimov who was on his back foot and was able to get to his body and affect the conditioning of Madrimov and was able to get his game plan going. But ultimately, he hasn't stopped anybody in an official capacity at 154 yet. Fred Lawson and Thomas Hollerman were catchweight fights. They weren't 154-pound fights, right? He was able to stop those guys, but those guys aren't going to be the litmus test to let us know what he can do at 154. We can't use those guys. Clearly, hindsight says he hasn't done it with Bohachuk, and he hasn't done it with he didn't do it with Madrimov, and got peppered a lot in the Madrimov fight. And obviously, we saw him get sat on his pockets with Bohachuk, so he gets hit. So can Erickson Lubin apply that kind of pressure to Virgil Ortiz? Can he change the momentum in the fight to attacking the body, turning Virgil Ortiz around in that fight, not allowing his back to be on the ropes, but by the time the 5th, 6th round happens, can we see Virgil on his back foot a little bit? I think that's a lot of people are sleeping on Erickson Lubin's capabilities. Really was cooking on there. Shout out here to my brother 2 cents in the building, super chat with the $2. Says Clay, you was cooking on Sunday dinner, by the way. Good shit. Thank you, man. I appreciate those guys up there. Greg Hackett is somebody who I have a lot of admiration for. Greg Hackett, I've interviewed Greg Hackett over here, right? And that's because I think he's somebody who should be interviewed. You know what I mean? I think he's a great mind in the space, bro. And I think he slept on. I know he has a good time on his show, and he's a funny guy when he wants to be. But in reality, if you get past the silliness of it all, that man knows his boxing, bro. Right? If you get past the silliness of it all, out of everybody in the space right now breaking down boxing, he gets into the heart of a fighter. And he's somebody I've been watching ever since he was making takes on YSM's show before he had a channel. And I used to send messages to Jamil like, yo, what's up with Greg? He needs to do a show, man. Get him. Yeah, I know. And Greg was being hard headed and he would give YSM the yeah treatment, but he wouldn't really follow up on it that much. But Mill stayed on him. He still stayed giving him those takes, giving him those opportunities to share with the space. And I'd like to believe that the boxing space responding to all those takes kind of convinced Greg, like, damn, they really fuck with me like that. They really fuck with me like that. All right. And then he started doing his thing, man. And Fighting Words with Bangs, you know what I'm saying? Became like good friends with him, however they met up with each other. And I think, believe it or not, I think Bangs also motivated him a little bit and kind of helped him along too. Look, I know how those moments are when you're doing stuff like this and you're doing it by yourself. And it's good to have somebody to bounce thoughts off of, you know what I'm saying, and build with and help it be more pleasurable for you just as much as it is for the fans that are tapping into the information you're giving. So big fan of Greg Hackett and what they got going on over there, man, and what he's doing and putting together. And I think it's, he's blowing up the way I thought he would. You know what I'm saying? The subscribers are way up. He's blowing up. He's getting that attention. I think the space is acknowledging him. News platforms like Boxing News and other platforms are acknowledging his takes to be super legit. They're quoting him, and they should be. I think dude is talented that way, right? And I hope his training career, you know what I'm saying, blows up the way he wants it to as well. I hope he finds a fighter that he can build up, and we're watching him corner some big fights in the game. He's a young dude, man, but big fan of Greg, man, what he got going on over there. For sure, man. He stays inside of that inside the boxing. He stays inside the algorithm where he's supposed to be at. But yeah, so that's how Erickson Lubin has to operate, right? He has to control the range. He has to keep this fight in the center of the ring. He has to stay off the ropes. And at the same time, he has to get that respect from Virgil Ortiz so that he's not on his back foot all night long. Because Virgil is going to put that pace on you. It's going to tire you out if you got to use your legs like that. And, I think Lubin is a great counter puncher, but I feel like he's a more powerful, effective puncher, not going backwards. Right? Left to right, yes. But I think, I'll be honest with you, I think even with the Sebastian Fundora fight, I think when you saw Erickson Lubin sitting on the ropes like that, I think that happens sometimes because I don't think he feels effective offensively while he's moving backwards. So sometimes him sitting on the ropes gives him an opportunity to counterpunch and to really, dig in, right? To sit on his punches a little bit better rather than moving backwards the whole time. But if he can get some forward movement going on or some good lateral movement that he can, even with the Terrence Crawford fight with Canelo Alvarez, you saw it in that fight. If you really pay attention, that Terrence Crawford wasn't on his back foot in that fight much. He got on his back foot from time to time, but in all reality, Terrence was way more effective when he was able to use that lateral movement and then walk Canelo into situations to where Terrence made opportunities for himself to sit on his punches and become effective and get that respect from Canelo Alvarez. I think that's something similar to what Erickson Lubin wants to be able to do in this fight. Matter of fact, that Terrence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight may be a good parody, a great example of how Lubin should be trying to make this fight look to a certain degree. Make Virgil pay. You still are the Hammer. That is your nickname. You still have power in your hands. Do not become overly defensive. Don't act like you're in the ring and you're the smaller guy. Become the smaller guy and allow Virgil Ortiz to bully you and pressure you like you're the smaller guy. That's not who you are in real life. You are the tried, true, acclimated, actual 154-pounder. And you're the best 154-pounder Virgil Ortiz is facing up into this moment. You're going to work it on Boachuk. You're going to work with Madrimov. There's an argument there, and you can deliver where they were strong at in their fights with Virgil Ortiz. I believe Erickson Lubin can capture those same moments and add even more to it by bringing a certain amount of pedigree to it, a certain amount of dog to the fight that those guys may have not brought all the way, right? Boachuk did, but he didn't have that finesse, the finessing skills of Erickson Lubin. Now, Virgil Ortiz, on the other hand, we know, right? He wants to get Erickson Lubin on his back foot. He wants to go forward. That's way. I don't know if he's confident about going backwards and punching, but I know he's confident about going forward because he's done it. His knockout record speaks for itself, right? That's where he wants to be. And it's going to be the jab, and it's going to be the body work for him as well. The winner of the lead hand in this fight is going to probably be the winner of this fight. The guy who wins the lead hand fight is probably going to be the winner. That's going to be who's going to be able to implement and push forward their game plan and make it happen. That's what's going to make the difference in this fight. So yeah, that's where that's at, man. That's how I feel about that, man. I'm looking forward to seeing. I think he's going to be a fight of the year candidate. I'm probably going to put a little bit of bread on Lubin because even though I'm leaning towards Virgil, I think those odds are too crazy for me not to be in that game. Shoot, I played lottery before, bro, and I know I'm not winning that. So I ain't got no problem putting some money on Lubin because I think I got way better odds of Lubin winning this fight than winning the damn lottery, right? It is what it is. What we got going on in the chat right now? It Will says, yeah, I'm putting money on Lubin just because. Yeah, bro. Yeah, Haney is at a plus 110 right now too. Yeah, I definitely got to grab me a Haney bag. Put some money on there. I'm not completely making my decision on who's going to win that fight yet. I'm still in the air about who wins that fight. But nah, anything plus on Haney. I don't remember the last time I ever seen Haney as a plus nothing in a fight. I think people are really sleeping on Haney's ability to do a lot of things in this fight that I'm looking forward to get. I've got questions going into this fight, and I think boxing has too many answers and not enough questions. I go into a fight with so many more questions than I have answers. And I think fans today go in there with a lot of absolutes. And I think the idea that Haney can't punch, I think that's a bit of an urban legend, a little bit of a myth, right? I think, yes, we've seen him in situations. We haven't seen him be the guy knocking out people, but can he punch? I don't know, man. I don't believe Brian Norman wants to just sit there and get punched by Devin Haney. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let me see what's here. Virgil range or backdoor is trash. It will. His foot. Okay, foot. Virgil's range or backdoor is trash. Foot range or backdoor is trash. I don't know. I'm trying to put it together. Let me see here. Trini says, get off the fence, Clay. I'll be off the fence soon. Probably by next week. It's about that time. Trini, I'm officially going to pick a winner in that fight between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. That's officially going to happen. There's a small part of me that wants to see Haney on the scale a little bit, but not really, because I've seen him on the scale against Jose Ramirez and he looked great. And I saw that personally because I was out there for that. So I'm expecting him to look good on the scale. So there's a little part of me that's just kind of used to being that way with Devin Haney, to wanting to see how he looks on the scale. I don't think it's necessary for this fight as much, but I just think in the tradition of things that might be holding me up before I pull the trigger on who I'm picking. It might be like a little mental block situation that I'm going through with that. You know what I'm saying? But I will give a pick in that fight. I definitely will, man. That's a fact. I won't let that one go away. Shout out 2 Cents talking about Nicholas Flaz and Delonte Tiger Johnson tonight. If I don't have to go to work tonight, which I don't know, I'm on call. I'm waiting to find out what's going on. I haven't heard anything yet. I got you guys all in my business. I don't know if they need me tonight. If they don't need me, then I will be calling that fight tonight. Otherwise, I'll be telling you what's going on in the fight tomorrow as I'm calling the Erickson Lubin Virgil Ortiz fight, right? It is what it is. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Anybody wants to come up and build, if the community wants to come up and say what up, invite guests, copy link, let me know. Shout out to Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields locks in an $8 million multi-fight deal. 8 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 million mul and a music deal. So I guess, Clarissa's trying to do her thing. She's got her man Papoose, one of the lyricists, best lyricists of this era. That's her man. I think Win Records might be his situation. So I guess this is a combination of Salida Promotions and Win Records that have locked her into an $8 million deal. Papoose has found himself. Shout out to Papoose, right? Being a guy who supports his woman, right? Like Papoose is the poster boy for like that man that I think most women want, that kind of a man, right? Supportive. He'll play the background if he has to. He did the same thing for Remy Martin, right? While Remy Martin was in jail, he was showing up to jail to see her every week and make sure she didn't feel alone. Married her, had a kid with her, and everybody was, they were like the Black Love poster, right? The poster child for Black Love. And Papoose was the one who's getting really celebrated the most in that situation. And, here he is with Clarissa Shields kind of moving with that same energy. They kind of back into that Black Love situation, as Papoose seems to always check that box. But also, Papoose is always in the business. Is there an argument there to say that Papooses position with his women is profitable? That it might be a little bit more than love, right? There's love there, without a doubt. I think Papoose is a I think he's a authentic person, right? I believe that if he's in a relationship with when he was a Remy Ma, I think that was authentic and real, and I think him being with Clarissa right now is authentic as well. I think he's in his bag. He's feeling some kind of way about Clarissa. They have a connection, but he's in the business of Clarissa as well, right? Because here, this $8 million deal is that Clarissa Shields just signed, and who's in the deal? Win Records. Win Records is in that $8 million deal, and Win Records is Papoose's thing. So Papoose is, and we've seen him show up and manage Clarissa in the background a little bit, right? Like Clarissa has spoken in interviews how comfortable she is because she knows if Pap is in there, he's making things and moving around a certain way. He's making sure everything is right. He's getting her water, giving her water while she's sparring in the ring, getting training. He's holding her mitts. He's doing all kinds of things. You know what I mean? And that's what you should do. I hate to even be, I don't want it to make it look dastardly or conspiratory, right? Like just make it look like, oh, he's plotting on, women who are successful so he can get his part and benefit off of what they do. Right? I don't want to say he's doing that on purpose per se by design, but I think it's fair to say that that's what he's doing in real time, right? But he could be doing that and at the same time, be in a real relationship. And I think that's probably what's happening, right? I think that's probably what's happening. And I think that's a great thing. As long as it's authentic, I think that's a great thing. Because obviously Clarissa Shields is all in on Papoose, right? She's all in on that conversation. That's her man. She's openly spoke about having babies with this man. Let me tell you, when a woman starts talking like that, like, yeah, when we have kids, that's almost like marriage type of, right? That's legitimately probably marriage type of talk. So it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So yeah, congratulations to Clarissa Shields. $8 million with Salida Promotions. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I thought Clarissa Shields might have ended up over there MVP. I really did think that was a possibility because I know the Shadeja Green fight and fights like that were over there for her. And I know women's boxing seems to be over there at MVP. So I thought she might take an opportunity to headline an all-women's card and do some legendary stuff for her own legacy. But she's back with Salida Promotions, and obviously she has a relationship and an understanding. She's worked with them before in the past, so Salida's been able to facilitate her $8 million deal. I think it's 2 years, is what she said, of however many fights that is in 2 years. That may be like 2, 3 fights, right? So that's a decent deal. $8 million, right? That's a great deal. So shout out to Clarissa Shields, man. Shout out to Clarissa Shields. What's going on here? Yeah, no doubt, Ill Will, 100%, brother. Says building and growing together is what it's all about. 100%, man. No doubt, man. Thank Father said he a good guy. 100%, man. Salute to my guy, Jin. Jin in my cup. Okay, that's a nice name. That's a nice name. Right? So that's another one right there. What else did I want to cover? I mean, it wasn't that much, guys. You know what I'm saying? I put the link out there if somebody wants to come up, man. I got things I got to get into. I probably got about another 15 minutes before I'm going to move on. I did get that text message, right? They're going to need me to come in there and move something around. So that's where I'm going to be heading. I'll be leaving here. We'll go into from the shop. So it is what it is. Looking forward to this fight tomorrow night. Tonight, that fight that I won't be calling, right? With hold on a second here. The fight that I won't be calling, but we'll be watching, will be that Nicholas Floss card. Nicholas Floss versus Tiger Johnson. And I'm rooting for Tiger Johnson in this fight. I'm feeling like it's time for him to kind of get some recognition and move around. Like he moved up from 140 pounds. I like the way he's been looking at 147. I think this fight puts him right in the conversations with the Polancos and, you know, potentially getting into some title contention down the line if he's able to move accordingly like a boss in this fight here against a real game dangerous fighter and Nicholas Floss. Looking forward to see what goes on in that. Is this Trini? TB, Trini, is this Trini? I think it is. Trini BX. Mic check. You're on mute, brother. I can't hear you. Yo. Mic check, mic check. All right, I'm gonna pull you down, I guess. I don't know, man. You're quiet. I don't hear you, bro. I'm gonna pull you down, family. Trini BX, you there? All right, I'm gonna pull you down, bro. I don't hear you. I don't know if you're having technical difficulties. That's what it sounds like you might be dealing with. Let me try bringing you back up and see if it's good now. You here?
Yeah, you hear me, Clay?
Yeah, Trini, I hear you. Up. What's good, family?
I was trying to set up the headphones and shit. Chilling.
Okay.
Yeah, good fight weekend, man.
No doubt, man. What you think about those Vegas odds, man?
I'm jumping on it. I'm going with Lubin, man. I always rooted for him, even with his 2 losses. He never disappointed me in the ring. The Charlo shit could have happened to anybody. The Fedora fight was a really tough fight. He was up in the scorecards in that fight. So yeah, I'm always been a fan of his. I hope he pulls it off. It's 50-50. I'll give him an extra 5% because my heart is in it. But he needs a knockout, man. I don't think he'll get the fair shake.
It seems like there's some politics moving around. You can smell it in the air a little bit, right? Like it seems like with the way Vegas is acting, the way Oscar's talking, the way they're bringing Jerron Boots Ennis to be outside the ring, it just seems like everything is kind of stacked up against Erickson Lubin a little bit. And I'm getting closer to feeling the way you are, which is maybe he might need, if not a stoppage, he's gonna have to knock him down, right? Like he's gonna have to make it clear cut. He's not gonna be able to. A close fight's not gonna go well for him, right? Is that where you at with it?
Exactly. And also, like you always say, man, I think God gonna be laughing tomorrow night, man. It's happened before. Uh these plans, man, like even back to the Parag. I've been referencing Parag Jacobs a lot this week because I feel like hold on for a second.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, what Trinity's about to say, I feel like is something I like to say because I believe in it, man. God loved to laugh at the plans, man. He laughs at the plans, man. When people are putting big things like this together, and you know, you got Jerron Ennis coming there specifically to call out Virgil, and the Vegas is moving the way they're moving. God has a funny way of getting in the middle of that, messing that up. Like he'll throw a
Yep.
towering inferno in the middle of your shit.
Yeah. You got God. You want to make him laugh. Make some plans. But yeah, like I've been referencing Parag Jacobs a lot because I like the way he stopped Jacobs. I feel like that's the angle I feel like Norman could take the footwork with the athleticism to close the distance. So I've been
Okay.
watching that fight a lot this week. But that was a fight where they stripped Martinez. to get Jacobs that belt. And this guy comes from Russia, stops the plans. Joshua comes here for his first fight, ruins that. Margarita Mosley. So it happened before. You know, it can happen. It can happen. And then also I want to touch on the Zayas fight that might get finalized with ABASS. Um, let's say that fight does happen, and the winner goes after the Backroom versus Kelly to unify. You
Uh-huh.
can't be mad at them making that decision. They could walk out of there with 3 belts. I got a
Right.
strange feeling that Fedora, especially that he got hurt again, I think he's gonna move to 160, man. And Skamson has a plan for him to email Virgil that belt if he gets past Lubin. If that happens, Boots could get frozen out. But I tell you one thing: Norman or Haney winner, whichever one of them. I'm rooting for Norman, and I see Norman being at 147 for a while. But I see him going right after the champ at 154 when he's ready. Because champions get that they get some kind of leeway where they can challenge the
Right.
when they move up. So I think I see that in Norman Jr. So it's about to get excited at 154. There's a lot of young dogs that ain't get a shot yet. Val Saint, the prospect, is coming up. Cromwell's still there. 154 is hot, man. And 160 is going to transition that when these guys start coming up. You know, and 147, yeah, the fight tonight. The winner of Flies Tiger Johnson will become champion at 147.
I
They're
think there's a
that
good
good.
chance of it. Yeah, I think there's a good chance of it. But I mean, listen, you got some players jumping into the 147 game that look like it's gonna be hard to take belts off of them if you're not special, right? Like if Ryan Garcia takes his title off Mario Barrios, he's not gonna be an easy person to take that belt from, bro. I don't care what people think about him personally. He's not gonna, if he gets dialed in, he's a problem for anybody. Anybody can get it. That left hook is like that.
Nah, it is
Devin
like that.
Haney, it is, right? And Devin Haney and Brian Norman, whoever wins out of that one, you're not going to take that belt off of them easily. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got Lewis Crocker there. There's an IBF title there potentially for the right fighter to come and take it away from him because I think, I think you can get them boxers always can show issues, but for the most part, anybody could take that title off of him. And then you got Rolly, who's going to fight Shakram Giasov. That fight right there, you can maybe take it off Rolly, even though I think Rolly's looking really good at 147. But I'm telling you, Shakram gets that title, it's gonna be hard. You know what I mean? He's gonna be a problem.
And
He's
even
difficult
Rolly,
fighter to
Rolly,
deal with.
Rolly got some decent power, you know. But I'm saying, like, as far as I want to touch on the what was the fight? 147. You just mentioned it.
But
Just slipped my
Tiger
mind.
and Nicholas
The
Floss, or
Tiger, the first one you mentioned. Oh, the Ryan Garcia Barrios.
right?
Barrios has a shot to get in our good graces by packing up Garcia. So I think he's going to show up for that fight. You know,
Wow.
back.
Okay.
Yeah, think about it, man. He's had some tough losses. He gets Ryan, there, man. He's got to feel some. Come on, man. You know this guy lost, and he's going right at. They setting up for him to go. That's if that don't put you in that gym, you know, and showing up 100% against Ryan Garcia. You know, one of them getting packed up that night. You know what I mean? One of them is definitely gonna get packed
I
up
ain't
that
gonna
night.
lie. I got Ryan washing him, man. I think Mario Barrios is just hit his peak a long time ago, and I think he's easy for special fighters. Mario Barrios has proven that he's just not special. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
And when you're
yeah.
talking
No, I
about
hear exactly
competing
what
with
you're
these
saying.
fighters, these special ones, he doesn't have. It's just not who he is. He's done what he's done. I think he's about done in the game. I mean, his next move, his maybe the best move, which is go to 154 after this fight with Ryan and maybe see what he does up there. But once again, not special. He could still be in some good fights and a great dance partner because he's
Hmm.
not going to shy away from the fight. But
And Ryan versus
yeah,
the fucking Haney Norman Winners a movie.
yes.
That's a fucking
And
movie.
especially if
But
you add titles in it, unifications and things of that nature, it gets even better, right?
hell yeah, I can just imagine Norman Senior and Ryan's father going at it.
Yeah, yeah, it is what it is.
But
Yeah,
yo, enjoy the weekend, man. I'm gonna keep tuning in. I hope you caught a fight. If you caught a fight, I'm mute the TV, watch it, and I'll listen to you, brother.
no, I'm calling the fights tomorrow for sure. So you can
All
look
right,
out for that. That's
all
happening.
right, man. Stay
All
up.
right, King.
Salute.
Peace.
Respect.
Salute. My guy Shelton in the building. Shelton, how you feeling? How's the sound? How we've been having some bad luck lately, bro. So how's the sound? How's everything going? Are you dialed in? What's going on, man?
You tell me.
Yeah, you sound good, man. I hear you. You hear me. So what's
Okay,
good, man?
what's happening, man?
Let's get a clear take.
We gotta fight. We gotta fight tomorrow, man. We gotta fight tomorrow. For me, if Lubin keeps the fight technical, he can win. And I think he wins easy. But as we know, Lubin likes to turn everything into a war. And if he turns it into a war, he loses.
Two things, Shelton. One, how do you feel about the Vegas odds? Two, how do you feel about Kate Karamo, that trainer working with Erickson Lubin right now? What can Kate Karamo give Erickson Lubin inside of one training camp that can translate into anything that can really help Erickson Lubin in this fight with Virgil, in your opinion?
Nothing. At this point in Erickson Lubin's career, he is what he is. You can help him,
I want to tell you what
accentuate his work on his strengths. Mm-hmm. But as far as teaching him something else or teaching him a new way to approach the fight game, you can't teach him that. He is who he is. Lubin been in the game a long time. He's 32 years old. He started when he was 20. Yeah, he is who he is.
30, right?
Yeah, and he started when he was like 19, 20 as a pro. Yeah, he is who he is. He is who he is. So I don't think Kate Karamo has anything, but what I do think is, I think it's a different voice because Kevin Cunningham was yelling, screaming, talking crazy, and Kate Karamo may be like, you're not fighting for me, I'm working with you. Does that make sense, Clay?
Yeah. I think that I want to know what you feel about this, what I'm about to say right here. What do you think about Kate Karamo being somebody who can keep Lubin dialed into the game plan? In other words, when Lubin strays away and starts to mix it up, do you think Kate Karamo could do something that Kevin Cunningham was having a hard time doing, which was getting through to Lubin to dial it back and get back to the game plan? Do you think he can help in that area where it's like, it's not about teaching him anything per se as much as being a credible voice of reason in doing the corner work with Erickson Lubin to help him manage through those moments in the fight? What do you think about that?
I think that could be true because coming from Kate Karamo, maybe by him being younger and by the way he would say it, it's more of he's suggesting that you might want to try this instead of old ass Kevin Cunningham saying this is what you need to do and hurry up and do it.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing, man? I keep telling you, you better keep doing
that type of stuff. I mean, like me and you, Clay, that might work with us.
Right. We got thicker skin.
But with these newer kids, these newer guys, that don't work.
Right. I think that's what happened a little bit with tanking Calvin a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of like a little bit what happened.
Well, see, Calvin, the thing with when you go there, for me, what I saw, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, Calvin's actually serious.
Right.
Tank don't really want to be there.
Right. And Tank
don't
will
really want to be
back.
there.
He'll talk back. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Tank don't really, because he don't really want to be there. Tank is the epitome to me. To me, bro, Tank was the epitome of, I don't box because I love it. I box because I'm good at it.
Right. Yeah. So what do you think about the Vegas odds and Jaron Boots Ennis showing up to the fight? He's going to be there to supposedly call out, walk in the ring potentially and call out Virgil Ortiz in a formal face-to-face way. I'm just saying, with all that buildup there, there's a sense in the air of everybody seems to be clearly looking past Erickson Lubin. How do you feel about that? And should Virgil Ortiz be wary about allowing that to get in his system as well and look past this guy?
I'm hoping Virgil ain't doing that. I'm hoping that's, Eddie, wanting to come to the fight. Maybe that's Robert Garcia inviting Boots or whatever. I hope none of that has anything to do with Virgil. Virgil should be focused on the fight because I don't care what we saw Mel do to Big Maul do to Lubin. I don't care what we saw Fedora do to Lubin. That doesn't mean you can do that to Lubin. Erickson Lubin's a good boxer. Erickson Lubin can fight. And he got a little pop in his punches.
Yeah, he got some punch. He's not the biggest puncher in the world, but he big enough. He'll derail your shit. He'll say you looking back at it like, damn, I wish I would have done something else. I'm about to go soon, so I want to ask.
Better look at this. He better treat this fight like he is fighting Lutz. He better treat it just like that.
Big fat. Actually, I mean that segues into my next question to a certain degree, but because I'm about to go soon. Does this fight give us can this fight be a litmus test to give us an idea of what a Jaron Boots Ennis and a Virgil Ortiz fight can somewhat look like? Can Erickson Lubin force Virgil Ortiz to give us some of those looks, to give us an idea of how he deals with a slick fighter, a fighter who can fight at southpaw, who fights at southpaw, but we know Jaron Boots Ennis is a switcher. He can go either way. But can this performance tomorrow night give us an idea or something to hold on to look forward to seeing between him and Jaron Boots Ennis?
Yes and no. Yes, because Lubin is slick. Lubin can box, but we know Lubin likes to fight. So eventually, if Lubin holds up to Lubin form, it's eventually going to turn into a war.
Yeah.
Now, I'm hoping Lubin will keep it technical, but looking at his history, I don't think he can. I think once he gets hit and he gets hurt, he's going to want to fight. And no, because I don't think Lubin is as athletic and as dynamic as Boots. That's what people don't understand about Boots Ennis. Boots is, number one, he's super athletic, and number two, he's super dynamic. And number three, a lot of people, you never hear a lot of people saying this. I think I heard you say it once, Clay.
Mm-hmm.
Boots is mean, man.
Oh, yeah.
Boots wants to come get you.
The same thing's Terrence, right? The special fighters are like that. Boots is mean. Sugar Ray Leonard was mean. Terrence Crawford is mean. You know what I mean? Those guys are smiling and they looking like, but they're mean. They want to do something bad to you in that ring. They genuinely want to do something bad.
Floyd Mayweather was like that. Even though he had brittle hands, Floyd Mayweather was like that. Mean. He was mean.
Yeah. Tell you, shut the fuck up and fight in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. You try to shake his hand, he might slap your hand away. Like, bro, ain't none of that. Like, these guys get in that ring and they mind switch. They switch.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
So I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm really looking forward to November 22nd. I'm looking forward to that fight.
Oh, yeah, man. Like I said, I haven't given my decision on that fight. I'm leaning towards a direction right now. Like I said earlier, I think there's something in me that's just, I have a way of dealing with Devin Haney, which is I need to see him fight week. Like, I just need to see if he's walking around with his face sunken in. I need to see if he's, you know what I mean? I need to see him during fight week before I pull the trigger, even though he's, undefeated for all argument's sake, right? But still, and we're so close to it, I'm not going to give a decision until fight week. I'm going to tell you right now,
it's just that I'm looking at all this muscle, and I'm saying to myself, I was talking to somebody last night, and they said, "Oh, he looks great. Look at all the muscle. He's not cutting. He looks good." I'm like, that don't mean nothing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you what it really means. Tell me what you think, Sheldon. That when I see muscle like that, you know what I say? Weight cuts ain't easy for those guys, bro. Because fat and water goes away. Muscle ain't going nowhere, bro. And then you get all lean when I'm seeing all those cuts and veins. You know who else look like that, bro? Look at the media workout for Errol Spence Jr. when he was getting he looked great during the workout. Like, he was ripped. You were like, how? And then I saw that one, and I called him. My wife is right here. My son was here watching it, and I said, this dude might have a bad weight cut, bro, because I don't know how he's going to cut that weight. He was just too ripped.
Right.
So Devin's looking good. Devin's looking good right now.
He looks good. But, Clay, just like I know, good looks don't win fights, bro.
Nah, man. Muscles ain't never win a fight.
Yeah, a whole lot of dudes look good laying on the canvas.
Listen, on the contrary, muscle-bound fighters like what, like for example, like Christian and Billy, or the way
Anthony Yard.
Anthony Yard, those
Anthony
guys have
Yard.
a harder time. Yeah, Anthony Yard is a perfect example. Those guys have a hard
They
time.
get tired.
They get tired. They have a hard weight cuts. They have hard weight cuts. Their condition is compromised. So let's see what Devin is looking at, looking like fight week. But yeah, without a doubt, he looks great. He looked great in the mid work I've seen him doing with Mickey Bay. And but I wanted to say something to the boxing space, and we'll continue to talk about it obviously as we get closer to the fight. Brian Norman Jr. is looking great too. And I want people to understand that he is, the thing about Brian Norman that I love is he's dialed into who he is. He has no identity crisis issues. He is comfortable with who he is. Where he's strong. Where you might consider him weak, he's like, I'm comfortable with all that, bro. You're going to fight and beat, if you beat Brian Norman, the best Brian Norman. He's not leaving nothing at home. He's not second guessing himself. His father's not going to let him do that. Take that however you guys want to take that, for whatever it's worth. You know what I'm saying? But
my thing with Norman is this: Brian Norman. His demeanor, bro. His demeanor is what I love the most.
Right.
His demeanor, the way he carries himself. He's like, look. Because Devin's out here doing a lot of talking. Now, you've heard it, Clay. Devin's doing a lot of talking.
Yeah. I mean,
and Brian Norman saying, you know what? All that sounds good, but guess what, brother? We go fight. I will be there.
Yeah.
We gonna fight. And I love that, because he's letting Devin know.
Like that.
I don't care about none of that.
Yeah.
You got to see me in that ring.
It's getting to the point to where with Devin, and I'm gonna land it here because I gotta get ready to move on. But
right,
Devin's trying to convince himself, because he's not going to convince Brian. You feel what I'm trying to say? It's like you're doing this.
Nailed it right on the head, bro. You nailed it right on the head.
You're trying to get yourself where you need to be mentally, because you can't be trying to get me nowhere, because I'm nowhere near drinking the Kool-Aid you serving. I don't believe none of it, not even a little bit. It's laughable, to be honest, that you're trying as hard as you are to do it. Because
show me.
Yeah,
show
that's
me.
The only way you're gonna get that respect. You're gonna have to do it to me bad, pause inside of this ring on November 22nd, or it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem for you. So, but at the same time, Devin looks great right now.
He does. He
looks great, and that makes the fight more interesting. But I heard Devin was looking great during the Ryan Garcia camp. You heard? I heard Devin was looking great during the Jose Ramirez camp. So
you remember when his kids Clay, what the old people used to tell you?
No, what did he say?
Sometimes you can talk yourself into an ass whooping.
Oh yeah. So this is a big fight for Devin, but at the same time, Devin wins this fight in dominating fashion, pound for pound, right? Pound for pound, right?
Oh yeah, you would have to say because the way, now I have to give Devin respect for that. The way Devin moves, got to give him respect for that. He go from division, trying to fight the top guy. Okay, you got to give him respect for that.
Pound for pound, bro. We ready to do that. Real boxing fans know we can talk. We just keeping it real, but we are very prepared to give Devin his flowers for what he's done, and that if he wins against Brian Norman, that's a real accomplishment, and he's one of those dudes, bro. He's one of those guys, man.
Yeah. You got to give it to him. You got to give him, because this dude ain't no pushover, and he did not have to fight this guy. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Norman is the champion, Devin is a bigger name. He didn't have to fight him. He could fight anybody.
Yeah.
He could have.
Yeah. He got the kind of names. Let me see. AJ64 says, why did Bill try to change the gloves from 10 gloves to 10 ounces 2 times? I don't know about him doing that, but I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Shout out to Bill Haney.
If he did, you answered the question yourself. You know why he tried to change it. You know the question.
Right.
You don't
I don't
answer
even
that
need
question.
to go there. Exactly. Like, I don't need to go there and play the semantics, bro. Like, if that's what he did, we know why he did it. But shout out to Bill Haney, because he's going down in the history books too. He has his own spot that he's working on. He may very well get into Hall of Fame. He's been such an influencer in this boxing space. When you think about Terrence Crawford actually crediting the fight with Canelo Alvarez being because Bill got in his ear, and spoke to him and told him to do that. Just think about the influence that Bill Haney's had in this era of boxing, especially when it comes to Devin. Obviously, just the independence of Devin, the money he's had Devin making in spite of he's not selling pay-per-views, he's not putting asses in seats, he's not a big star, putting him in the same tax bracket as the Gervonta Tank Davises and the biggest stars in the boxing space without the same support from the boxing space, right? You got to credit that to Bill Haney and the way he moves. And even with that 10-ounce glove thing, as Devin is working on what he's working on, Bill is outside moving in the benefit of his son. However you want to look at it, that's what he's doing it, and he does it. He's done it effectively, and again has his son going into a situation to where he gets to make a move that puts him on a pound-for-pound list, get him his biggest payday, and have him in the history books as and have him as a Hall of Famer because of Bill. Shout out to Bill Haney.
Facts,
right?
All facts, bro. All facts.
All right, Shelton. I gotta make moves, man. I got somewhere to be by 6, man. So let me get it together, man.
Do your thanks for having me, bro. It's always good talking to you, and I'll see you at fights.
No doubt. Tomorrow, tap in. We'll be in here covering the fight. Peace. Shout out to everybody who's in the building, man. Thank you, everybody, for tapping in, man. Hit the like button if you haven't done it. It's about that time for me. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Tap in tomorrow night. We'll be calling this fight. If you've never seen me call a fight before, don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. It's like that with me in calling these fights. I'm passionate about it. And obviously hit the bell icons next to the to you subscribing to the channel so you're getting alerts when we're dropping content like this. We're building the community. We talking boxing. We're trying to cover it on the big broad spectrum, the big landscape of things. I appreciate everybody who's helping to support this channel get there. Shout out to all the new subscribers who have tapped into the channel as well, right? So until the next one, it's that boy Clay said ATP Combat Media. Until the next one, at this point, we out.